Hey YouTube, so we are at Famous Reading Outdoors with a new Jeep. This is the Jeep Gladiator that we just recently purchased, and it's basically still pretty stock. We added a CB radio, we added a camera mount system that I'll share with you guys in this video, and we're just going out and we're going to enjoy the Famous Reading Outdoors, doing some greens, and first time, pretty exciting to be out here. And I know immediately people are going to ask me, are you guys trespassing? Do you have permission to be there? Famous Reading is closed down. Obviously, we have permission to be here. Obviously, we are out here before Famous Reading closed down, so this video was shot maybe a month before you're watching it. And yeah, it's like totally legit that we're out here. So anyway, for those of you who do not know what Famous Reading Outdoors is, so this is in Pennsylvania, and this is in the same area as Roush Creek and AOAA. I know a lot of people know about Roush, so they know about going to AOAA. The difference is this is 20,000 acres of land, 650 miles of trail. This is like 6 or 7 times the size of Roush Creek. It is humongous. It's just not all packed into one spot. It's a lot of little like tracts of land that is coal mining land, and a lot of it is kind of like old school jeeping, where you go out in the woods and you have fun. And yeah, they allow motorcycles and ATVs and side-by-sides and all that kind of goodness. But they do have an annual pass you need to get if you want to come here, and I think the driver pass is like $170, but that's for the whole entire year. So anyway, so we're out here and we are going to have a ball taking the Gladiator out for the first time, and today's all going to be green footage. Hey, so this is where we're at. We are at the Locust Gap track, and we are starting out where it says keep out in the upper right hand corner, and there's a Route 901, and we are going along those greens, and then we will go down and hit the greens on the other side, and then come back around on the other side of 901. And it does look like I am a little bit wrong. It does look like everything is graded, because you can see in the bottom left they have green, blue, black, and red on the trail, and then ATV only. And so anyway, so they have these maps. This is what the tracks look like, and we are gonna just continue on the trail. And but I do want to share with you the camera mount system that we have, because that's going to be the topic, I guess, for this video. So the first thing you're going to notice that's like way different is you're going to notice that if you look at the bottom, the Jeep is at an angle now, where before the Jeep was always like level with a vehicle, and that's because we're using a different camera. The other thing you're going to notice is there's a glare like in the center, like a little red kind of glare, and that's from the mount being red, and I've recently spray painted it black, so we're not going to get that glare in future videos. But unfortunately all the FRO footage was shot with this, so there's going to be a small glare on them, but I'll point out how to fix that also. So people like a lot of times wonder about how do you mount your phone inside of a Jeep like a JL or a Gladiator, or how do you mount your camera. Now you notice how the Jeep at the bottom like moved, but the point of view didn't move, and that has to do with the image stabilization stuff that we have on the new camera. And so all the footage in the future should look like this, where the camera is nice and balanced. It looks like it's on a gimbal, but the Jeep underneath it moves now. So the mounting system that we're using is by 67 Designs, and this is the same thing that I had in the JK, except now it has like a Gladiator mount. It's a little bit different, and the mount on the right hand side just happens to be the one from my JK, and the one from the left is a new one, but it kind of assembles together. So that large rail there goes into the top, and it uses 2 of the existing bolts, and then there are 4 additional bolts that they give you to tighten it down, and there are also some 3M strips to make it ultra stable. So when you mount it, let it sit there for like a day before you use it. That way it gets nice and firm. And you can use a rail system to basically attach like iPads or phones, or like a camera or whatever. And that is a GoPro mount that you see up there. So here it is with a phone attached and also a camera attached. The camera in question is a GoPro Max, and it would be similar in size to a Hero 8. I think the Hero 8 might be just a little bit shorter than the Max, but I decided to go with the Max. The Max allows me to do forward-facing footage and rear-facing footage, and it allows me to do 360. But I would say don't buy a Max like if you have a PC. because right now the software that you use for the 360 degree is pretty much specific to Mac. And yeah, you can get in there and you can open the side, and I didn't put it on all the way, but whatever. So anyway, you can open the side and change a battery and change a card and everything like that without having to actually unhook it, which is nice. So anyway, so we're still at FRO. You can see that we are doing these greens, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the camera. So you can see the bottom of the Jeep is like kind of like tilting up and down as we go over these obstacles, where before I used to always talk about like looking at the tilt of the trees, but now the trees never tilt, so it's the Jeep that's tilting, which is like a little different. And the reason for that is because the GoPro has this horizon steadying image stabilization built into it. It's just like a little thing you click, and by having the horizon like leveled, I think that what it's using is, I think it's using like a little Mercury switch, honestly, but I'm not really 100% sure. But anyway, we have the capability now of keeping the horizon nice and level, so the way that you're going to be able to tell how big of a grade we're on is going to be based on looking at the bottom of the Jeep instead of looking at the trees. The other thing that you're going to notice, and this is going to be really obvious compared to the last set of footage that we put up, is this is in linear mode, so now it looks a lot more like a Canon, where before, with the earlier GoPro footage that I had posted at like at Gore, Virginia, you'll notice that the footage was fisheye. So if you compare the hood of the Jeep, you'll see that like the hood of the white Jeep is triangular, so you can see that obviously it's warped. You can see the trees are kind of like folding in around what would be perceivable as like a circle. Like that tree on the left, you can see how much it's like bent around. So this would be the fisheye effect that I was talking about, or the barrel lens. And you can still get this kind of effect unintentionally on the newer cameras. However, most people prefer this. So this particular mode for the GoPro is linear mode, and personally, I would shoot everything on a GoPro in linear mode, and I would not ever use any of the other modes if I had the choice. But the earlier GoPros, like the one that we had before, the Silver 2 or whatever, Silver 3 that we were using, when we shot Gore, Virginia, didn't have a linear mode, and I didn't know the difference between the different modes, so honestly, back in the day, and now I do. So if you have a GoPro, look for linear mode, and then that's what you want to shoot in. Hey, so here are the two negatives about the 67 Designs GoPro mount, specifically. The base, where that nut is, that you can see the silver nut on the base of the camera, when you buy it, it's red, and sometimes you get a glare and sometimes you don't. It depends on the lighting condition, on whether or not there's more light inside the Jeep or more light outside the Jeep. So in this particular case, because it's kind of foggy outside and I guess there's more light on the inside, you're getting a reflection, which is pretty common. That's why you want everything kind of black and muted out around the camera. The easy fix, hit it with some spray paint and you're done. But you know, when you spend money on something like it would have been better if it was black instead of red, to be honest. So then the second thing is the nut itself. That nut is a pain in the rear. Like every time you basically unhook your GoPro, that nut like wants to jump out, and like you need to like have like super long, super small fingers to get it back. Just a little touch of glue to hold that nut in would have like been like way better, but for whatever reason I didn't glue the nut in. So I'm gonna glue it in, and that will take care of that frustration. But pretty much right now, anytime I take the GoPro out, I have to be very, very careful not lose that nut because it just wants to jump out. So there's a glare that I was mentioning that you get out of the box if you don't spray paint the GoPro mount black, and hopefully 67 Designs realizes that they should be using black instead of red. At some point they'll change it probably in the future. And you can see the image stabilization going on here, where you can see the Jeep is jumping around, but the camera is kind of gimbal-like or very steady. So most of FRO is green, which is good for the people that like to do greens. They do have a little bit of blue, black trail. I don't know much about it because I haven't done a whole lot of FRO, to tell you the truth. The Locust Gap just happens to be the area that I've actually done the most. I've been to Locust Gap maybe 3 times now, and I've been to, I think they have another area called Blackwater. I think I've been there once. And then I've been to Mount Carmel a couple times also, and that's like 3 of the tracks. And like I said, it's broken into tracks or sections of land, and you have to travel between the different areas. So, unfortunately, it's not like AOA or Roush where you have like one big ton of land in one spot, but there is like quite a bit of land, and you can see the road right there going by, and how I was pointed out in the previous video, how I was like, oh look, there's some trail over there on the left, oh look, there's some trail over there on the right. That is a cool thing about FRO. Like, it is like literally, it feels like everywhere. So anyway, like I said, it's mostly green trails, but most people like to ride on green trails. So, it's about 100 times the size of Flagpole Knob, if you've ever been to Flagpole Knob in Virginia. A massive area to explore if you like exploring. So we have way more footage on Famous Reading Outdoors. This is not like the only one we're going to post. This will be a whole series. And please like and subscribe. Subscriptions really, really help the channel out. And thank you, and we will see you in the next video.